Hello once again. Today we're looking at a couple of electric fans made by Caframo, Canadian Fractional Motors. On the left here I have the Caframo model 707CH, also known as the Chinook, which is an AC powered fan. And then here on the right I have the Caframo model 707DC, which is a 12 volt DC version of the fan. I really like these things. I've seen these things around my whole life. Caframo is a company that's been around since the 1950s. They're a Canadian company, and as far as I know, all their products are still made in Canada. These two fans were made in Canada, and that's really, really cool. Caframo is a lot like Seabreeze. They make fans and heaters. They're priced sort of in the upper level of the market, and all their products are made in Canada. But unlike Seabreeze, Caframo is still in business. And Caframo has a lot better, lot wider reach with their products than Seabreeze did. And as far as I know, Caframo has never had any quality issues or recalls like Seabreeze did before they went out of business. So yeah, you can buy these not only in Canada, but outside Canada as well. And Caframo makes a few different models. The Chinook here is one they've been making for pretty much their entire history, as far as I know, going back to the 1950s. It's obviously been updated over the years. The body style has changed to keep it, you know, somewhat modern. But this particular style they've been doing since the earlier mid-2000s, I think. So this fan was made, you know, recently, at the very earliest, earlier mid-2000s. It might be a lot newer than that. I don't know. There's no way to tell. But yeah, this has been this was their bread and butter for a long time. Caframo, I think Caframo's most famous product now, it's certainly the one they market the heaviest, is a Peltier cooler powered fan called the Eco Fan, which you put on a stove, and the heat from the stove powers the fan, and it circulates the heat coming off the stove. There are a lot of knockoffs of it now, but as far as I know, I think the Eco Fan was the original one, but it's certainly their product that they market the heaviest today. But for a long time, the Chinook was their bread and butter. And then this one here, this is an older fan. You can tell by the more angular body style. I'm not sure when this one would have been made. 80s or 90s would have been my guess. Caframo still makes this fan today, albeit a cosmetically updated version of it, and I don't think they call it the 707DC anymore. I think they call it the 757, and they also market it under the name the Ultimate. But yeah, they still make this today. This fan they market to the marine market. It's got a big fat suction cup here, and you can articulate it not only up and down, but side to side as well, with the suction cup staying in place. And they also sell other mounting methods for it. Aside from the suction cup, you can get a mount or a clip or whatever you need. And yeah, they market it for the marine market for use on boats. And it's got this super long curly cord, which terminates in a cigarette lighter socket. So yes, both of these are just very cool fans. They're very unique with no grill and these big fat blades on them. The blades are a very soft plastic, which makes them safe. You can jam your finger into it when it's running even full speed and it's not going to hurt you. And because there's no grill, that improves the airflow. So that's the reason they make the fans this way. They boast their efficient design because of the airflow, and also they're still safe while providing a lot of air. I found both of these fans at thrift stores, different time periods. I got this one a year or two ago. This one I found just recently, just a couple of weeks ago at the thrift store here. They both work perfect. This one worked perfect out of the gate, but as I started using it, I use this every night in my bedroom. As I began using it, eventually the motor started slowing down. It needed lubrication. So I've had to lubricate this once. But other than that, it's been great. This one needed a bit of help when I got it. It was very, very dirty. You might be able to tell here, I've done a repair to the blade here. The blade was actually split, and I took a soldering iron and melted the plastic to close the split. It didn't work that well. If I push on it, you can see the split opening up there, but it's better than it was. You can buy replacement blades for both of these, luckily. These actually aren't the same blade. The DC version has a smaller motor shaft, so there are specific blades you have to get for the DC versus the AC version. So I bought a new blade. It's at Bridget's house. I can't go get it because the US-Canada border is closed. Great! So in the meantime, I'll just have to make do with the old blade. It's working alright for now. But yeah, this was very dirty. This metal retainer frame thing right here was rusted. I was able to wire wheel the rust off it and then touch it up with Brasso, and that brought it back looking pretty good. And also the motor was kind of stiff. It needed lubrication. And unfortunately, in the case of both of these fans, there's no screws holding the cases together. The cases are welded together, and so you pretty much have to, you know, break into the plastic case if you want to get full access to the motor, which sucks. It sucks that they make them this way. So what I've done in order to oil both of these is oiling the front shaft is pretty easy because the fans, it's a two-handed job, but the fan blades come right off. And oh, I got some hair I've got to get out of here. So you can get to the front bearing from there. As for the back bearing, I kind of have to take like a zoom spout bottle, a bottle of oil with a nice long spout on it, and sort of reach it through this grill here to get to the rear bearing of the motor. What is kind of nice is Caframo's documentation, at least for this particular fan, actually invites you to oil the front bearing of the motor. They tell you to pull the blade off and put a couple of drops of oil in it every few years to keep it running good. Very nice. However, that doesn't help with the back bearing, which is the other half of the equation. So, yeah, there's really no way of getting into these to really give the motor a good service. But yeah, the motor on this was kind of stiff. Pop that blade in. So I did the same thing. See if I turn Night Shot on. Give you a look at the motor. It's just your standard brushed DC motor. But yeah, I basically stuck a oil spout in there through the grill as best I could and gave it a bunch of oil. And it's not perfect, although maybe that's the design of the motor itself. Like the AC one has a better spin down than the DC one, but maybe that's just the design of the motor itself. A brushed motor is obviously not going to be as freewheeling as a brushless motor is, like a shaded pole motor. But this is working really well now. It's certainly working a lot better than it was. It cleaned up quite nicely, and yeah, it's working really nice. Give you a look at the info plate here. Model 707CH, 120 volts, 60 hertz, 0.35 amps. Caframo Limited, made in Canada. Very, very nice. And then for the DC one, Caframo Limited, model 707DC, 12 volt DC, 0.6 amps. E4 might be a date code, but no way to know. And this doesn't say made in Canada, but it obviously was. So kind of funny is that the, at least in the case of my two units here, the DC version actually has way more airflow than the AC version. The fan blades are the same size, but the DC one is simply able to spin them faster, so you get more airflow with the DC one. But I'll turn the AC one on here. That's low speed. And I just leave it running on low speed all night in my bedroom, and it's very nice. Put it on high speed. And again, no harm at all when you put your finger in the blade. Very, very nice. You may remember, I think it was a couple of years ago, I mentioned in a video that I found a Chinook, one that was a lot older than this one is, but the motor was completely bad on it. The bearings were completely shot and it was irreparable. The motor was simply at the end of its service life. So I wasn't able to save that one, unfortunately, but this one working really well, nice and quiet, and it's got a lot of life left, which is great. So I'll demonstrate this one here. I've got my Marlboro power pack here. Plug it into the jack here. And unlike the rocker switch on the AC version, this one's actually got a push button switch. And it's also a 2-speed fan, high and low, so the push button has 3 positions. But I'll anchor the suction cup here and I'll start it. It starts on high. Way more airflow than the AC version. Well, it's even moving my curtain way over there. Oh, and it's spinning this one. Yeah, this thing has really, really good airflow. It's amazing. And there's low speed. There's the spin down. Oop. Yeah, the motor was a lot noisier before I lubricated it. It's really good now. But yeah, so much airflow from this. And that's pretty much it. There are a couple of unique fans. You pay a bit of money for them. This one retails for I think 30 bucks, and the modern version of this one retails for $65. So you pay a lot of money for them, but they're a very good product, and replacement blades are available in case your blade splits or breaks or whatever. And they have other products too. I've owned 2 of their battery powered fans. The first Caframo fan I ever had when I was in elementary school was their smallest model called the Tiny Tornado. It runs on a single D battery, and that was a great little fan. I forget what happened to it. I might have left a battery in it and it corroded, but it was a great little fan when I had it, and they still make it today, which is great. And then they have a slightly bigger, more powerful one called the Minimax. I used to have a Minimax. I believe I made a video of it way back in the day. I forget if that was before or after I lost my earliest videos. But the Minimax runs on 4D batteries. And the one I had was 4 speeds. The one they sell now is variable speed. It's actually got a little knob on it. It's infinitely variable speed. But yeah, the Tiny Tornado and the Minimax are the battery powered fans, and they're very nice products too. My Minimax, the circuitry went bad in it, the speed controller, so it just quit working. It wouldn't turn on anymore, so I tossed that one, which is too bad. But I've got these 2 now. They are both working great. Very nice products. I really love these fans. So that's about it. There's a look at a couple of Caframo fans, AC and DC cigarette lighter powered versions. I like them a lot. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.